On far left. Thank you. Star of Banana Motherfucker, the new movie from Troma by Fernando Ale, who did the special effects for the movie you saw, and is making a movie right at this very minute called Mutant Blast, which Troma is producing in Portugal. Just in case somebody might buy a ticket, we are producing it in a language that nobody speaks, namely Portuguese. So we will have a film that I think will be a perfect storm of no revenue. But Banana Motherfucker, thank you very much. And next to Banana Motherfucker, we have the Sisterhood of, I didn't know whether to say Mr. or Mrs., the Sisterhood of the Traveling Underpants, right here, ladies and gentlemen. Big hand. The new Lifetime movie. I think Courtney Cox will be directing it, if you pardon the last name. And Patricia Lloyd Kaufman, the New York State Film Commissioner for 20 years, appointed by both Republican and Democratic governors. New York State has gained billions of dollars in jobs because of attracting so many movies away from California to New York. So you will probably kill her after this. California, unfortunately, Hollywood did kind of blew it with the Canada, New York offered incentives so that people come to New York State, they get a third of their budget back. And Pat wrote those laws and wrote the regulations that created the incentives. So all these movies, like $200 million Spider-Man, have left Hollywood and come to New York.
But California has just, I'm sure all of you who live here know, California has just recently upped its game by funding its incentive program more robustly than before, so that was smart.
Yeah, it's just too bad Ebola broke out at Universal Studios. But what were you saying, Tyler? Too soon, I know. Yeah. Tyler, the moderator. What's your last name?
Tanner.
Pardon?
Tanner.
Tyler Tanner.
Tyler Tanner.
Alliteration. Tyler Tanner.
So now, when was the first Nukem High produced? That was in the 80s, right?
Traveling underpants person. Class of Nukem High, tell us what you know about the original Class of Nukem High.
The original did come out in the 80s, actually. You are correct. It's not as much, Return to Nukem High is not as much of a, remake as it is a revisioning. It's the same universe, it's the same, town, the same school, but just later on in time. So you don't have a lot of the characters that were in the initial thing, but you still have the Tromaville universe that's there.
You still have the spirit.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. No, because that I was always wondering about that too. If it was a sequel, because you have the Toxie franchise, I wasn't sure if.
Well, the Class of Nukem High is one of our classics, and the guy, a lot of people have grown up with Troma or had their careers begun with Troma, and the guy who greenlit this at Starz/Anchor Bay was a Troma fan. This was his idea to create the revisiting of Class of Nukem High, and he gave us total freedom. So it's the only time we've done something with one of the vassals of the devil-worshipping international media conglomerates since 1979, actually. And but he gave us total artistic freedom, so we did it.
Well, now that this is obviously a wonderful film. Do you plan on revisiting? Do you plan on revisiting or doing a reboot of other Troma films?
Well, we are editing Return to Nukem High Volume 2, which will be the second half of the Nukem High saga, and you will see how the romance and how everything worked out in Tromaville with Chrissy and Lauren. We finished. We have a little bit of second unit work, but Transgender Toxie's in the house, ladies and gentlemen. Transgender Toxie, thank you so much.
I apologize for my tardiness.
Oh, no problem. Your toxiness, please come and I'm more worried about your retardedness. Thank you for coming. Thank you. So we were just talking about Schopenhauer and your views on the universe.
Well, I'm for it.
Thank you.
Actually, I'm going to open it up to the audience here. Anyone have a question? Yeah.
I'm pretty
like Phil Donahue.
Wow, Tyler, look at you go.
Well, I absolutely love the soundtrack. I was at the panel you guys had last year, and when the Tiger Lilies came up, I lit up like Christmas. And I think there were more Tiger Lily songs here the last time I saw them live. Can you talk about how the soundtrack came in? And was it the suicide one, like the whole bit with, I mean, the whole soundtrack was great. Can you talk to
Isn't it great? Yeah, the Suicide song is by Rape Door out of Minnesota. And thanks to Twitter, I met all these people. I met the Tiger Lilies through fans. Fans suggested the Tiger Lilies. Rape Door contacted me on Twitter. And I believe I learned about younghairlessasianboys.com through Twitter. So thank you very much, Twitter. Right, Tom?
The band name is Rape Door?
Rape Door from Minnesota.
Interesting name.
I want to kill myself tonight.
I wonder what they're about.
Oh, they're great. They're really good. You can see them online. They've done some albums. They're not as big as Tiger Lilies.
They're actually in the film too, in addition to playing it. The band themselves are playing their song during the party scene.
Yes, good point, traveling underpants person.
Now, can you get Vagina in the Sky on iTunes?
Vagina in the Sky is on, you can get it for free on YouTube.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, just they have, Tiger Lilies has all their music up for free. And then you hopefully, as does Troma. We have 250 free movies on Troma YouTube movie channel to thank our fans for 40 years of cinema.
That's a good deal.
Support.
That's good.
That is a good deal. Thank you. We believe in sharing art.
Anyone have any other questions? Oh, come on, you gotta have a question.
Let's do somebody up front.
I know I'm short, but
Oh,
I'm here.
here, I'm sorry, I didn't see it. There you go.
Hi guys, I'm just wondering, when did people start asking you for advice as young artists, and does it bother you that people are looking up to you and saying, "How can I do that too?"
Well, actually, it's only a small, it's a very tiny demographic that really worships at the shrine of the Troma transgender gods. In fact, the American Film Institute, you can get this, I think your taxpayers are going for this, probably financing a lot of this. The American Film Institute actually advises their interns or their students or their people, whatever they're called there, not to be interned for Troma. They would rather have them working at some crooked, sleazy American film market lower level company than work for a 40-year-old
But
company
I think the
that
point
brought
of-
you South Park. And
I think the
so-
point of her question was, when did people start asking you and looking up to you and start asking for your advice, which is a segue into when did you start writing your books?
I agree, Commissioner, but I just wanted to make the point that we are not mainstream at all, and I didn't want anyone, we are really a very tiny classical cult movie studio, and only the most enlightened and wise and talented people are the ones who gravitate toward us, like James Gunn and Eli Roth and Vincent, the South Park Boys, and et cetera, Samuel L. Jackson, and you guys. This is not a huge crowd here, but you are the people who really are dedicated to genuine independent art, and you deserve a big hand. I think a lot of film students, even though the film schools like USC, et cetera, were not exactly, they didn't get Troma, but the students did. And I think it's more probably in the 90s the students started getting very interested in Troma. And finally Putnam asked me to write a book. And of course James Gunn wrote that first book that I wrote. James Gunn went on to make a little movie called Guardians of the Galaxy. And he did Romeo and Juliet. He worked for us for a couple of years.
All of which you can get in the booth at 1123.
The booth here, yeah, it's booth number 1123, and Banana Motherfucker Gyno here is very excited about, in fact, that's a banana flavored lollipop, right?
It's cannibalistic.
Daniel Day-Lewis system of totally immersing yourself in the skin of the heart, of the peel, the great appeal. Toxie, what have you got to say about all this, about education and Troma, and the Troma books, the books that I've written?
Well, the words that I can read are good. And there's not many, but I like the cover. The pictures in it are very nice. Wish I would have stayed in school a little bit longer. But I mean, everyone's going to have their place. I fight crime, people read books, it's all the same.
Well, traveling, very good, Toxie. Thank you very much, Transventer Toxie. Now, traveling, oh my God. Oh, very disturbing. Secret of the Traveling Underpants, Sisterhood of the Traveling Underpants person. What have you to weigh in here? What have you to say?
In relation to your question that you had that you asked us, I think it's things like Troma are very good because if somebody who does work in film and wants to create films, something I've noticed with the whole education system now is it really leads a lot of people in direction into departmentalization. So, you know, you have people that are going to school and their whole career, they just want to be, you know, they want to be a cinematographer, they just want to be a camera operator, and that's what they want to do, and these are things that they shouldn't be paying hundreds of thousands of dollars in tuition and turning themselves in debt to do. These are things they would have been getting paid to do 20, 30 years ago, and learning themselves. And I think the whole notion of institutionalized art, if you want to be a filmmaker, is something that's really dangerous because it's something that's supposed to be kind of transcendent of what is going on in the studio system.
Did you say transgender of what's going on?
Yeah, transgender too. So when you know, I have friends that want to do things like this, and you talk to them, and really all you can tell them is like, hey, I'm still, you know, figuring things out about how to be able to live and work in something like this where you aren't doing that. So it's humbling just because you don't really feel like you're too high up, you know. Yeah.
Well, anytime that Troma makes a movie, people come from all over the world to work on the movie. From this last film, Volume 1 and then Volume 2, we had people coming from Australia, New Zealand, Iceland, Japan, Norway. I mean, they were coming from everywhere. Even
Upper
that
New
foreign,
Jersey.
yeah, it's that foreign country, Upper New Jersey and California. But they come from everywhere. And if you want to get a sense of what this is like when all these people come, and they're pretty much volunteering to come and work on the film, if you want to get a sense of what that experience is like, then you should definitely go online and download some of the behind-the-scenes films made about the last few films.
Well, and they're streaming for free.
And they're streaming, well, that's right, yeah, go online, they're streaming for free.
Poultry in Motion is the
Yeah,
documentary.
Yeah, actually, the documentaries, what's your name?
Margaret.
Margaret asked the question about education. We make these feature-length documentaries purely for students. I mean, they certainly don't resound in the, nobody appreciates them except a small number of students, but it's worth it. Poultry in Motion, the making of Poultry Guy's Night of the Chicken Dead, which is available on Troma's YouTube movie channel. It's wonderful. It's so educational, and it's funny and entertaining. And I don't know why American Film Institute would not, I don't know why American Film Institute has an attitude about it. But I know that USC and I think part of it is that they're charging $50,000 a year for a film school, and you can make a movie for $5,000, an entire movie for $5,000, like Mr. Bricks, a heavy metal murder musical, and get it out through Troma, and actually be a movie maker and make a few bucks, and maybe that's what it is. Maybe the people who teach who cannot do a job, I don't know what it is.
Well, I think also the other thing that's really cool about the people that come to work on your sets is that they realize that if they do come work on the set of a Troma movie, I mean, it's tough. It's basically nobody's making any money. They're sleeping on the floor. They're eating sandwiches. Lloyd has a whole bit he does about this. It's a tough experience, but on the other hand, people who, the ones who are there that have the dedication and the innate talent, they rise up. When Lloyd was shooting Toxic Avenger back in 1980, whatever it was, there was 82, there was a young woman who just graduated from college. She wasn't even actually a film student. She just graduated from college. Her older brother had gotten a small part in this movie, Toxic Avenger. He said to his sister, why don't you just come and see if they'll let you work on the film? She did. She came. She started off as a PA. By the end of the film, she was production manager, right, of Toxic Avenger. That woman is Carolyn Barron. She went on to produce Capote, which won a few Oscars. She went, so fast forward, 15 years later or whatever, 20 years later, this woman has become a major producer and producing international films, Oscar-winning films. So, but it all started because she came to a Troma film as a PA, and Lloyd recognizes talent when he sees it, and the next thing you know, by the end of the film, she's production manager.
I mean, that's how I discovered Banana Motherfucker, kind of, right? I mean, I know talent. Please. Also, the other documentaries that we've made one about selling your own damn movie. It sort of you can watch it with the book, Sell Your Own Damn Movie. But All the Love You Can, about how Troma operates at the Cannes Film Festival, it's really great. It's totally educational. It ought to be on all the educational TV, but it ain't. But you can get it for free on the Troma movie channel on YouTube. And then there's behind the scenes of your movie, your movie, Transgender Toxie, Citizen Toxie. The making of Citizen Toxie, called Apocalypse Soon, is up. And then Terra Firma, which is my most personal film, and Tyler Tanning likes it a lot. It's based on the book All I Need to Know About Filmmaking I learned from the Toxic Avenger. You can see the making of Terra Firma, that's called Farts of Darkness. That is available free and on the Troma YouTube movie channel, along with about 248 other Troma movies and cartoons, as well as short pieces. So check out Troma on the YouTube. And there's a Make Your Own Damn Movie channel. Did you know that, Margaret?
No, sir.
There is a Make Your Own Damn Movie channel. Every week we put up a new lesson, or an interview with Stan Lee, or Roger Corman, or James Gunn, or Eli Roth, or Joe Dante. Every week we put up something that pertains to independent filmmaking. Sometimes it's how we crush a head using a simple cantaloupe. Other times it's how we do our syncing, our pre-syncing of a musical number for very little dough. All the different aspects of making movies is covered week by week in the Make Your Own Damn Movie channel. So Troma has 3 channels. And
the newest edition is you just did the Halloween Carol for YouTube, and there's a behind the scenes for that as well.
Indeed there is. The Legendary Company and YouTube have built studios in downtown New York, and they asked Lauren Michaels and me to direct something to kick it off for Halloween. And we made a little Halloween short in their new studios called
Not you and Lauren together.
No, not Lauren and I, but Lily Hayes Kaufman and Charlotte Kaufman who did, and you know them, traveling underpants person. And we did it for it's on the Troma channel, right? We just finished it. It's called A Halloween Carol. It's a shout out to Charles Dickens, but it's a nice Halloween celebration, and I think it's on some of the YouTube.
It's on Legendary.
Yeah, it's on Legendary, and also, but you can see it on the Troma Movies channel, I believe. And also, they made a little making of that's pretty educational too, but it's very short.
Where do you find that?
I don't know where you find that, but it's if you go to the Troma, they're all linked together. And my Twitter, I tweeted about both of them today. So if you're on my @Lloyd Kaufman Twitter, you can find those links. But the feature-length making ofs are really, in all honesty, they're great. It has nothing to do with whether you like our movies or not. They are terrific educational tools, as are my 6 books.
And they're very funny.
And they have pictures of my beautiful wife in the front of each and every book. They do not have a photo, unfortunately, of Sisterhood of the Traveling Underpants person. I'm very sorry, but we have only met in the past 2 or 3 years.
Now, guys, hello? Okay. One thing that I've always been curious about, okay, I did not know that you guys been around for 40 years. Now,
we did not know that either.
We did.
Still not sure.
What was the genesis? I mean, how did you guys start up? How did you guys...
Genitals is the issue between traveling underpants person and transgender toxic.
Genitals is currently my issue.
Yeah, so is that your question?
No, it's how did you guys, I'm going to do the typical boring moderating question, but how did you guys start? I mean, and then develop?
Well, banana motherfucker guy, 1974, you remember those days when we began. Michael Hurst and I simply wanted to have a place to make movies unencumbered, not have anyone tell us. And I had bought into the auteur theory of cinema. The French propounded it. I speak French, of course. The auteur theory says the filmmaker should be the author of the film and control every aspect of it. theory of filmmaking was organized by Jean-Luc Godard and Claude Chabrol and other journalists at the time, French journalists who were writing in the Cahiers du Cinéma, the notebook of the French Cinematheque. And I bought into, because I was reading those Cahiers du Cinéma, I bought into that way of making film, that it should be personal and should reflect the heart and soul of the artist. And as a result, I'm living in a refrigerator carton underneath the 405. But so far the bath salts have not done too much damage.
Anyone have any more questions, or? Yeah, absolutely.
So, Lloyd, if we were going to make our own damn movie, how likely is it, or is it possible that we could get you to be in it?
How likely is it what?
To get you to be in one of our movies if we were going to make one.
You want me to be in one of your movies?
Yeah.
Oh, if there's no budget, I've acted in a lot of, well, I've acted with quotes around it in many movies, and if there's no budget, I do it for free. I can't travel, I live in New York, so unless I'm out here frequently, but unless I'm out here, I can't. I think I'm acting in James, are you involved in that traveling underpants? James O'Hallow's film? Something about frogs. I think I'm doing, speaking of the Cinémathèque Française, I think I'm doing, very intellectual joke, I think I'm doing something this weekend. I don't believe I'm being paid for it. So just send me a note on Twitter and just give me two months advance notice, and usually I can figure out a way to do it.
I mean, you've even done stuff on green screen.
Yeah, that's right. You couldn't point, Commissioner. I've done, sometimes people just send me stuff, do it in front of the Troma green screen, and we have a crew and 5D in the office, so usually it works out. James Gunn insisted, he flew me over to England to be in, I had a huge part in Guardians of the Galaxy. I don't know if you caught it. But,
Yeah.
It's the best part of the movie, actually.
Well, thank you, Toxie. I studied about 4 months for that. A lot of work, very
It's an
complicated.
arduous audition process.
Oh, you can't
You
imagine.
had such range.
Yeah, thank you, Toxie, thank you. Basically, I have 2 seconds, and 1 second in Guardians of the Galaxy, but you can't miss me. It's like a real close-up. Because James Gunn worked for us, and he can't escape his Troma. You can take the boy out of Troma, you cannot take the Troma out of the boy.
Anyone have any more questions, or?
I thought I know too well.
Yeah, it's true, you do know too well the transgender Toxie, yeah, very wise.
Anyone who would? Yeah, absolutely.
There have been rumors of a Toxic Avenger remake forever and ever and ever, but I heard about a year ago there were some pretty serious talks. Is that something that's actually happening or not?
Would you like to take that question, Toxie?
Well, as you can see, I've gone through quite the transformation. So, I mean, I'm not opposed to doing a movie, but I'm not sure that it would be up for a wide release, you could say.
Yeah, and with respect to Toxie, I'm waiting for a Sergeant Kabuki Man sequel.
There you go.
There will be no Sergeant Kabuki Man sequel, but Sergeant Kabuki Man NYPD will appear in many Troma movies, featured. But he is, if you've seen Citizen Toxie, the Toxic Avenger Part 4, Kabuki Man became an alcoholic and also did some very serious sexual harassment. And he is not responsible. Some people can deal with stardom, others cannot. Toxie can deal with it. Toxie, he shows up on time, all that kind of stuff. Kabuki Man does not. But regarding that $1 billion remake of the Toxic Avenger, it's in the works. Akiva Goldsman, Oscar-winning producer of A Beautiful Mind, is the boss on that, and they keep moving along. I don't know if I live long enough, but it looks like something's happening. Meanwhile, we have written Toxie's 5th movie, which takes Toxie to Chernobyl, and Grime and Punishment, I believe, is the working title. And we are trying to get the rest of the financing for that. And what other Toxic news? There was a musical, the Toxic Avenger musical, with music by David Bryan of Bon Jovi. Played in New York for a year and is touring, and went to Hawaii and Korea.
And it won every award off-Broadway.
Yeah,
I mean, it
off-Broadway,
literally won everything.
And David Bryan from Bon Jovi says it's coming to Broadway. So it played in Canada, Korea, Houston. So it's a good show. It's very funny. I had nothing to do with the creative part, so it's actually good, and it It appeals both to the Troma fans as well as to the little ladies with the blue hair who want to see, Sam, My Fair Lady or whatever. So half the audience were the people like you, and half the audience were the typical New York Broadway theater crowd. So Toxie lives. Toxie has a life of his or her own.
Guys, I think on that note, I think we're.
What's the next event here?
Danny, what is the next event? House at the End of the Drive.
House at the End of the Drive.
Murders.
What is that?
Inspired by the Sharon Tate murder, shot on location down from her house.
Wow.
In one of America's most haunted houses.
Well,
For real.
thank you so much to that particular house, because it looks like Troma actually has a big fan base. Thank you, whoever you are.
You do have a huge
And
fan
thank you,
base.
Sharon Tate, for being such a legend. Thank you, everybody, and thank you to the amazing musicians of the Driving Entertainment, the Commissioner of the State of New York, and Transgender Toxie. We will see you at the Troma booth, number 1123.